The surgeon in Jinnah Hospital held up the X-ray with trembling hands. "This is impossible," he whispered in Urdu. "No one survives this. The human body can't." But he stopped himself because I was standing right there, walking, talking, breathing, with 58 entry wounds that told a story the medical textbooks couldn't explain. What happened in those 7 minutes when I wasn't breathing? That's the part that still keeps me awake at night. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where this really began. Not in that alley in Lahore where they tried to end my life, but in the quiet, mundane morning that preceded it. Because the thing about martyrdom is that nobody wakes up expecting it. March 17th, 2024, Tuesday morning in Jehanabad, the largest Christian colony in Lahore. The generator at Street Thomas Church had been coughing and sputtering for 3 days, and I remember thinking that was my biggest problem. Imagine that, a failing generator. I can almost laugh at the innocence of that concern now. The call to prayer drifted across the rooftops at 5:47 a.m., the same as every morning. I've always loved that sound, even though it's not my faith tradition calling. There's something about the human voice lifted in devotion that transcends the boundaries we build between ourselves. My wife, Nadia, was already awake, preparing breakfast in our small kitchen. The smell of paratha and chai, mixed with the heat that was already building, even before sunrise. "You're going to the print shop today?" she asked without turning around. After 12 years of marriage, she knew my schedule better than I did. "Just for an hour," I said, kissing the top of her head. "We need more workbooks for the literacy program." Registration doubled again this week. She smiled, but I saw the worry lines around her eyes deepen. "Doubled with Christian children or Muslim children?" "Both," I said, and that's when her smile faded entirely. "You have to understand. In Lahore, in Pakistan, Christians make up less than 2% of the population. We live in designated areas, work certain jobs, maintain certain boundaries. When I started the literacy program 3 years earlier, it was meant to help Christian children from families too poor to afford private schools. But then something unexpected happened. Muslim families started asking if their children could attend. Not the wealthy families, the ones like us, struggling, living in the margins. "Arif," Nadia said quietly, using the voice she reserved for serious concerns. "The letters you've been receiving." "I'm not stopping the program," I interrupted gently. "We've talked about this. I'm not asking you to stop. I'm asking you to be careful." Our son, Mikhail, shuffled into the kitchen, rubbing sleep from his eyes. 10 years old, already tall for his age, with his mother's dark eyes and my stubborn chin. "Baba, will you be home for dinner tonight?" "Inshallah," I said, then caught myself and grinned. "I mean, God willing." He laughed. "It's a running joke in our house. Me accidentally using Muslim phrases, him accidentally using Christian ones. In Jehanabad, you can't help but absorb the culture around you, even when it's not your own, especially when it's not your own." I left the house at 6:30 a.m., walking through the narrow streets of our colony. I knew every face, every doorway, every crack in the concrete. Mrs. D'Souza was already hanging laundry. Old Samuel was opening his small repair shop. The widow Mariam waved from her window. This was my community, these were my people. But my work had expanded beyond these familiar streets. The journey to the print shop near Data Darbar shrine took 40 minutes by bus and walking. I always enjoyed this commute. Watching Lahore wake up, the city transforming from quiet to chaos in the span of an hour. Street vendors setting up, traffic building. The organized disorder that makes Pakistani cities pulse with life. I didn't notice the white Corolla following me. Not that morning. Not the previous 3 mornings either. I was too preoccupied with lesson plans and budget calculations. Too focused on the small miracles, like Bilal and Sana, one Muslim and one Christian, competing to see who could read faster. Too invested in the future to notice the present danger. The marketplace near Data Darbar was already crowded by the time I arrived at 7:45 a.m. I stopped at a street vendor to buy mango juice, my one small luxury. The vendor, Hamza, was a friend now. His son attended our literacy program. "Pastor Sahib," he greeted me warmly. "Your program has done wonders for my Abbas. He reads to me now, from the newspaper, from books. I never learned, but he will have opportunities I never had. These moments. This is what I live for. Not grand theological victories, but small human transformations. As I turned down the narrow alley toward the print shop, I saw the white Corolla's door open ahead of me. In that split second, I had a choice I didn't know I was making: to run, or to trust that God's protection was real. I chose trust. I chose wrong, or maybe I chose exactly right. Time fragments differently when you're dying. What the police report would later call a 7-minute sustained attack felt like both an eternity and a single heartbeat. The first shot didn't register as a gunshot. My brain couldn't process it. The sound was too sharp, too close, too real. I thought maybe a car had backfired. Maybe someone had dropped something metal. Maybe. The second shot hit me in the shoulder, and there was no more maybe. I remember the specific sensation. Not pain immediately, but heat. Intense, burning heat spreading across my back like someone had poured boiling water over me. I stumbled, my legs suddenly unreliable, like I was walking on a ship in rough water. The alley tilted sideways. 3, 4, 5. I started counting without knowing why. Maybe it was the part of my brain trying to make sense of senseless violence. Maybe it was shock converting trauma into mathematics. 6, 7, 8. I tried to run. I want you to understand that. This wasn't some stoic acceptance of martyrdom. I was terrified. I wanted to live. I pushed against the wall of the building to my left, trying to propel myself forward, but my legs weren't obeying anymore. 9, 10, 11. The sound wasn't like the movies. Not the deep, dramatic bangs you hear in action films. These were sharp cracks, echoing off the concrete walls of the alley, mixing with my own gasping breaths and the sound of... What was that sound? Oh, bullets hitting flesh, my flesh. 12, 13, 14. I fell. Or rather, gravity claimed me when my body could no longer resist. The concrete rushed up, and I remember thinking, absurdly, that I should put my hands out to catch myself. 15, 16, 17. My palms hit the ground, but I didn't feel them. I felt the impacts in my back, my legs, my side. 18, 19, 20. On the ground now, face pressed against concrete that smelled like diesel and rain from 3 days ago. The shooting didn't stop. Why wasn't it stopping? 21, 22, 23. I could see, from my sideways position, the shoes of the shooter. Black boots, not sandals, not the informal footwear of street violence. Professional, deliberate. 24, 25, 26. I'm going to die, I thought with strange clarity. This is how it ends. Not in old age, not surrounded by family. In an alley in Lahore at 7, 47 inches the morning over a literacy program. 27, 28, 29. The pain arrived all at once, like a wave that had been building offshore and finally crashed over me. Total, absolute, consuming, every nerve ending screaming simultaneously. I tried to pray, but couldn't form words. God, I thought. Just God. That was the prayer. 30, 31, 32. Blood pooled around me, spreading across the concrete in patterns I could see but not quite comprehend. My blood. So much of it. Too much. 33, 34, 35. I thought of Nadia, of Mikhail and Sana. Would they understand that I loved them more than my own safety? Would they forgive me for choosing principle over presence? 36, 37, 38. The counting continued, detached from my conscious mind now, a part of me that was separating from the body on the ground. 39, 40, 41. My vision was tunneling, the alley walls closing in, darkness creeping from the edges inward. 42, 43, 44. Still firing. How many bullets does a gun hold? Why won't they stop? 45, 46, 47. Each impact now felt distant, like it was happening to someone else's body. I was floating above the pain, observing it rather than experiencing it. 48, 49, 50. My last conscious thought as Arif the pastor, Arif the husband, Arif the father. It wasn't a prayer for myself. It was a prayer for them, for the shooters. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The words Jesus spoke. The words I couldn't voice but somehow understood in my core. 51, 52, 53. Breathing was impossible now. My lungs wouldn't inflate. I tried to draw air, but there was only wetness. only blood. Drowning on dry land. 54, 55, 56. The marketplace sounds were fading, not getting quieter, but getting distant, like listening to the world from underwater. Voices, traffic, life continuing while mine was ending. 57, 58. Silence. The shooting stopped. I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, approaching my body. A voice in Punjabi. Check him. Make sure he's finished. I felt the kick to my ribs. A professional check for signs of life. My body didn't respond, couldn't respond. I was aware of it happening, but I was no longer in command of the body lying in that alley. It was like watching through a window as someone examined a mannequin. He's gone, the voice said. Let's move. Car doors, engine starting, tires on pavement, the sound of the white Corolla driving away, leaving me for dead in an alley in Lahore. And that's when the strangest part began. That's when I stopped being Arif in the body and became Arif outside the body. The pain disappeared, not gradually, but instantly, like a switch being flipped. I could see my body below me, blood spreading in a dark pool, wounds visible through shredded clothing. But I wasn't floating above, looking down like in the near-death experience documentaries I'd seen. I was standing in the same alley, at ground level, but the light was different, older, softer, like dawn before electricity existed, before artificial lights dulled the edges of natural illumination. My body was below me, still, broken. 58 holes piercing the vessel I'd inhabited for 34 years, but I was somewhere else, somewhere adjacent. The marketplace sounds had completely faded now, replaced by a silence so profound it had texture, had weight, had presence. And then I heard it, not a voice exactly, but a knowing, a communication that bypassed language entirely. Arif, your work is not finished. That's when I stopped being dead. That's when I understood that the bullets had failed at the only task they were designed to accomplish. And what happened next would make me question everything I thought I knew about the barrier between life and death. If this testimony is reaching you at a moment when you're questioning whether there's anything beyond this physical world, I promise you, what comes next will give you an answer. But I need you to stay with me. Your presence here matters more than you know. I wasn't floating above my body like in the movies. I was standing in the same alley, but the light was different. Older somehow, like dawn before electricity existed. The presence beside me wasn't a figure with wings or robes or any of the imagery I'd been taught to expect. It was more like standing next to someone in a dark room. You can't see them, but you know they're there. You can feel the displacement of air, sense the warmth of another being. Except this wasn't physical warmth. This was something that touched a part of me that had no name. You can see, the presence communicated. Not words, understanding flowing directly into my consciousness. And I could see my body below, still bleeding onto the concrete. But I could also see more. I could see the vendor Hamza running toward my body, his face contorted in horror. I could see the crowd beginning to gather. I could see, somehow, in a way that defied spatial logic, my wife Nadia at home washing dishes, unaware that I was dying 3 kilometers away. Why am I seeing this? I asked, or thought, or understood myself to be asking. Because you need to choose, came the response. And the choice requires seeing. The alley shifted, or my perception shifted, and I was seeing memories? No, not quite. Moments from my life, but illuminated differently. That was the day I started the literacy program. I'd thought of it as such a small thing. A few borrowed chairs, some donated books, teaching children to read in a rented room. But now I was seeing it from a different angle. I was seeing Abbas, Hamza's son, who I'd taught to read 3 years ago. I was watching him in what looked like the future. He was older, maybe 17, standing in front of a classroom full of students, teaching, the literacy program expanding through him. One child I taught becoming a teacher who would teach hundreds. The ripples, the presence communicated. You see only the stone. We see the water moving outward. Another shift, I was watching Bilal, the Muslim boy from the literacy program, and Sana, a Christian girl. They were children now, competitive and bright. But I was seeing them older, standing together at what looked like a university, leading some kind of interfaith student organization. The friendship formed in a literacy class, becoming a bridge that would hold weight I couldn't imagine. These futures, I tried to articulate the question forming in my understanding. they depend on me living? All futures are conditional, came the response. But yes, if you return, these seeds grow. If you remain here, other seeds grow. Different gardens, different harvests. Show me what happens if I stay, I said. The light shifted again, and I saw the alley from above now. My body being loaded into someone's truck. The rush to Jinnah Hospital. Dr. Hassan Malik shaking his head, telling Nadia that I was already gone, that there was nothing to be done. I saw my funeral, St. Thomas Church overflowing with mourners. I saw Nadia's face, aged by grief. I saw Mikhail, angry and confused, asking why God would take his father. But I also saw something else. I saw the literacy program shut down by authorities 2 weeks after my death, citing security concerns. I saw the Christian and Muslim communities retreating to their separate spaces, the tentative bridge we'd been building collapsing under the weight of violence. I saw the white Corolla outside another pastor's home 3 months later. And if I return? I asked. The scene shifted violently, and I was back in my body for just a moment. The pain was indescribable. 58 points of fire, each bullet a separate agony. Lungs full of blood, ribs shattered, organs failing. I gasped, or tried to, and tasted copper and death. Then I was out again, standing in the changed light of the alley. If you return to that. The presence communicated. The pain doesn't end. The danger doesn't end. They will try again. Your body will carry scars that ache every day for the rest of your life. You will live with bullets lodged in your spine, with shattered bones that heal imperfectly, with trauma that wakes you screaming in the night. But the children? I asked. And I saw it. The literacy program is not just continuing, but expanding. I saw Muslim and Christian leaders coming together over what had happened to me, forming alliances that wouldn't have existed otherwise. I saw my survival becoming a story that spread beyond Lahore, beyond Pakistan, planting seeds in soil I would never see with physical eyes. I saw myself, scarred and limping, standing before those children 3 months from now, lifting my shirt to show the wounds, saying, "This is what hate looks like. Now let me show you what love looks like." And I saw their faces change. I saw understanding dawn in young eyes that violence doesn't have the final word. There's something else you need to see. The presence communicated, and the tone shifted, became heavier. I saw the white Corolla. I saw inside it 3 men, faces covered, but I could see one man's hand, a distinctive scar across his knuckles. I saw money changing hands. I saw documents, development plans, land surveys, construction permits, and I understood. This wasn't about religion. This was about land, about money, about power, using religious division as a tool. If you return, the presence communicated, you will uncover this. You will expose what lives in darkness, and it will cost you more than bullets ever could. Your reputation, your safety, your comfortable obscurity. Are you willing? I thought of Nadia, of Mikhail and Sana, of the life we'd built in the small safety of Yuhanabad, of morning chai and evening prayers and the simple blessing of being unknown. I'm afraid, I admitted. Fear is wisdom, came the response. But love is stronger, choose. I looked at my body, broken in the alley below. I looked at the future spreading out like branches from this single moment. I looked at the faces of children not yet taught, bridges not yet built, gardens not yet planted. I choose the harder path, I said. I choose to return. I choose them, the children, the future, even if it costs everything. The presence moved closer, and I felt something like a hand on my shoulder, though there was no hand, no shoulder, no physical touch. 58 bullets entered your body, it communicated. You will carry 41 of them for the rest of your life. Each one a reminder, each one a testimony, each one a seed planted in flesh that will grow fruit you cannot imagine. Go back, Arif. Live. Testify. Plant gardens in the spaces where others tried to plant graves. The ancient light began to fade. The alley started to solidify around me, colors deepening, sounds returning. The last thing I heard, or understood, or received was this. You will carry 58 scars and 58 testimonies. The bullets failed to kill you. Now let them fail to silence you. Then the pain came back all at once, and I was drowning in my own blood, and I was screaming without making sound. And I was dying again, except this time I was fighting to stay, clawing my way back into a body that had every reason to quit. And somewhere, impossibly far away, I heard someone screaming, "He's breathing. Ya Allah, he's breathing." The first breath back hurt more than all 58 bullets combined. It was like inhaling broken glass mixed with fire. My eyes opened to chaos. Faces above me, moving, talking, screaming. I couldn't process individual words. Everything was noise and light, and an overwhelming sensation. Someone's hands were on my neck, checking for a pulse that had returned without permission from death. "He's alive. Call for help. Move. Move." I tried to speak, but my mouth wouldn't cooperate. Blood bubbled up instead of words. My vision was unclear, everything swimming in and out of focus. I could see the sky above the alley. Blue. Impossibly blue. Had it always been that blue? Hands lifted me. Not gently. There was no time for gentle. I was thrown, literally thrown, into the back of someone's pickup truck. The movement sent lightning bolts of pain through every wound simultaneously. I think I screamed. I hope I didn't. The last thing I wanted was to add my suffering to the trauma of those trying to save me. The drive to Jinnah Hospital. I remember fragments. The truck bed was metal and hot from the morning sun. Someone was kneeling beside me, trying to apply pressure to wounds that were too numerous to count. The smell of blood and sweat and fear. The sound of Lahore traffic, honking horns, the driver screaming for people to move, to clear the way. "Don't die," someone was saying in Urdu. "Please don't die. Stay with us." I wanted to tell them I'd already tried dying. It hadn't worked. But I couldn't form words. I could only breathe, barely, each breath a negotiation between will and biology. Jinnah Hospital. The emergency entrance, more chaos. Doctors and nurses appearing like figures in a dream. Bright lights overhead, cold metal beneath my back, scissors cutting away my clothes, gasps as the extent of the damage became visible. "How is he still alive?" someone asked in English. "He shouldn't be," came the response. "Get him to surgery, now, move." The face that appeared above me was different from the others, calmer, professional. Dr. Hassan Malik, though I didn't know his name yet. He looked into my eyes, checking pupil dilation, checking for signs of brain trauma. "Can you hear me?" he asked in Urdu. I blinked. It was all I could manage. "You've been shot. Multiple times. We're going to do everything we can, but I need you to know." He paused, struggling with something. "I need you to know it's very serious. Do you understand?" I blinked again. Tears now, mixing with blood on my face. "Do you have a family we should call?" "Nadia." My mind screamed her name even though my mouth couldn't. "His phone," someone said. "In his pocket, still working somehow." They pulled it out, covered in blood but functional. They scrolled through my contacts, found Nadia, wife. "Wait," I managed to whisper. The single word cost me more energy than I had. "I tell her." "Doctor." Malik leaned closer. "Tell her what?" "I'm sorry." They called her anyway. Put the phone to my ear. I heard her voice, confused, wondering why a stranger was calling from my number. "Mrs. Nadia, this is Dr. Hassan Malik from Jinnah Hospital. Your husband has been injured. You need to come immediately." The sound of her dropping something, her gasp. "How bad?" Dr. Malik looked at me, at the holes in my body, at the blood still pooling beneath the gurney. "Very bad. Come now. Bring family." "Is he?" She couldn't finish the question. "He's alive right now," Dr. Malik said. It was the truth, the only truth available. They wheeled me toward surgery. The ceiling tiles passed overhead, fluorescent lights alternating with darker spaces. I counted them without meaning to. 43 tiles from emergency to surgical wing. The morphine was kicking in now, dulling the pain, but also dulling everything else. The world was becoming soft, unfocused. In the pre-op room, Dr. Malik was speaking to other doctors. I could hear them, though they thought I was unconscious. Collapsed left lung, punctured intestine in at least 3 places, shattered 5th through 9th ribs. Bullets lodged in the spinal column. We can't remove those without risking paralysis. Massive blood loss, multiple entry wounds to extremities. "I'm counting." He paused, recounting. 58 entry points, maybe more. Some bullets passed through, some are still in him. "Survival rate?" another voice asked. "There is no survival rate for this. This doesn't exist in the literature. He should have been dead in the alley. So what do? We try everything. We remove what we can. We repair what we can. We pray, and we prepare his family. They wheeled me into surgery. The last thing I remember before the anesthesia took me completely was a young nurse squeezing my hand and whispering in Urdu, "My brother goes to your literacy program. Stay alive, Pastor Sahib. Stay alive for them." Then darkness. Not the purposeful darkness of the in-between place. The chemical darkness of modern medicine, forcing the body into shutdown so it can be cut and stitched and repaired. I don't remember the surgery. 6 hours, they told me later. Dr. Malik and a team of 4 other surgeons working in rotation. 17 bullets removed. 41 too dangerous to extract, left in my body like permanent foreign residents. Portions of my intestine cut out and reconnected. Ribs plated and wired. Lung reinflated. 73 units of blood transfused. And twice, they told me later, my heart stopped on the table. Twice, they brought me back. The second time, Dr. Malik said he almost let me go. "You'd suffered enough," he would tell me weeks later. "I thought maybe we were being cruel, forcing you back into a body that broken. But something, I don't know, something told me to try one more time." I woke up in ICU, intubated, restrained, in more pain than I'd felt in the alley. The morphine could only do so much against 58 points of trauma. I tried to move, couldn't. Tried to speak, couldn't. Tried to understand where I was, what had happened. The restraints were there because I'd been fighting the ventilator in my unconscious state, trying to pull the tube from my throat. The nurses had tied my wrists to prevent me from removing the very thing keeping me alive. I could see through the ICU window. Nadia's face pressed against the glass. Mikhail and Sana beside her. Their faces told me everything. They'd been told I wouldn't survive. They'd been told to say goodbye. They were looking at me like I was already a ghost. But I wasn't. I was alive, broken, barely breathing, more machine than man with the tubes and monitors and IV lines. But alive. Dr. Malik appeared beside my bed with a police officer. They spoke in low voices, thinking I couldn't hear over the ventilator's rhythmic breathing. "Can he identify them?" the officer asked. "He can't speak. He's intubated. He'll be for at least another week, maybe more. We have them on CCTV from the marketplace. 3 men, white Corolla, but we need his statement if we're going to make charges stick. If he survives," Dr. Malik said quietly, "the next 72 hours are critical." The officer looked at me, and I saw something in his expression that chilled me more than the pain. Not concern, not professional detachment, fear, like my survival was somehow problematic. "If he talks," the officer said, "if he tells what he knows, this could go very high up, very high." Dr. Malik turned sharply. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying nothing. I'm just a patrol officer. But there are people asking questions. About who ordered this, about why, and those people don't want answers going public." They left. The machines beeped, the ventilator breathed for me. Nadia watched through the glass, and I lay there, alive against all probability, beginning to understand that surviving the bullets was just the beginning. The real fight was just starting. What I discovered about who wanted me dead and why would shake your understanding of religious violence. But before we go there, I need to know you're truly invested in this story. Comment below if you're still with me. Your engagement gives this testimony power beyond my words alone. Recovery from 58 gunshot wounds doesn't follow a straight line. Neither does discovering that your attempted murder was connected to something far bigger than religious hatred. The first week in ICU is mostly blank in my memory. Morphine dreams and pain and the slow, agonizing process of my body deciding whether to live or quit. Dr. Malik told me later that I crashed twice more in those first 7 days. Twice more they brought me back. At some point, he said, they stopped asking my family for permission to resuscitate. They just did it automatically. "You were too stubborn to die," he told me with a tired smile. "Or too blessed, maybe both." The ventilator came out on day 9. I'll never forget that sensation. The tube sliding up my throat, the gagging, the panic, then air. My own breath. Shallow and painful, and the most beautiful thing I'd ever experienced. The first words I spoke were to Nadia. She was there when they extubated me, gripping my hand hard enough to hurt, though I couldn't feel it over everything else hurting. "The children," I rasped. "The program," she laughed and cried simultaneously. "You almost died 58 times, and you're worried about the literacy program? Did they shut it down?" She hesitated. It's complicated. We'll talk about it when you're stronger. But I needed to know then. Tell me, she sighed. They're trying. The district magistrate issued a notice citing security concerns. But the families, Arif, both Christian and Muslim families are fighting it. They're organized. They're showing up to council meetings. They're not letting it die without a fight. That news did more for my recovery than any medicine. Dr. Malik came by twice a day for those first weeks, checking wounds, monitoring for infection, adjusting pain medication. On day 14, he brought the x-rays. The first time I saw inside my own body. This shouldn't be possible, he said, pointing to various spots on the illuminated images. Here, this bullet is millimeters from your spinal cord. This one wrapped around your 7th rib without fracturing it completely. This one. God. This one passed between your aorta and your heart without touching either. Millimeters, Arif. Millimeters between those bullets and instant death. I stared at the x-ray. My skeleton, peppered with bright white fragments. 41 bullets, permanent residence in the landscape of my body. Can you explain it medically? I asked. He was quiet for a long time. No. I can describe what happened. I can show you the trajectory paths, the anatomical miracles. But explain it? No. In 23 years of surgery, I've never seen anything like this. You should have died in that alley. You should have died on my table. You should have died a dozen times in this ICU. But you didn't. Maybe I did, I said quietly. Maybe I died and came back. He looked at me strangely. The paramedics said you had no pulse in the ambulance. It wasn't an ambulance. It was a pickup truck. Whatever it was, they said you were gone. Then you weren't. Then you were. Then you weren't. Like your body couldn't decide. It wasn't my body deciding, I said. Physical therapy started on day 16. Just sitting up in bed, the simple act of gravity made me nauseous and dizzy. The wounds pulled and ached and screamed, but I sat up. The next day, I dangled my legs over the edge of the bed. The day after, I stood for 10 seconds before collapsing back. You're healing impossibly fast, the physical therapist said. For someone with your injuries, you shouldn't be attempting this for months. But I didn't have months. I could feel time pressing against me, the program, the families fighting for it, something larger than my recovery driving me forward. On day 23, I had an unexpected visitor. He arrived early, before Nadia and the children. A man in his 60s, traditional kurta and topi, gray beard carefully trimmed. He introduced himself as Imam Rashid from the mosque near our literacy program location. Assalamu alaikum, he greeted me. Wa alaikum assalam, I responded automatically. He smiled. They said you were dead. We held prayers for your soul. Then we heard you survived. Now we're holding prayers for your recovery. You came to check on me? I was touched but confused. His face grew serious. I came to warn you. My heart rate monitor beeped faster. 3 weeks ago, I received a phone call, he said quietly. Anonymous. Threatening. Telling me to distance myself from the literacy program, from any cooperation with Christian organizations. I ignored it. Then my nephew, who teaches at the program, was followed home. Then my mosque's donation box was broken into. Nothing stolen, just destroyed. Message sent. I'm sorry, I said. I never meant to bring trouble to. You misunderstand, he interrupted gently. I'm not asking you to stop. I'm telling you that what happened to you wasn't random religious violence. It was coordinated, strategic. Someone wants Christians and Muslims at each other's throats. Someone benefits from our division. Who? He pulled out a folded newspaper clipping from his pocket. This was published 2 days before you were shot, buried on page 14 of the business section. Development Corporation, announcing plans for a new commercial complex in the Juhanabad area. The land acquisition is pending. They need the current residents to leave. I stared at the clipping. And if there's religious violence, Christians flee, Muslims distance themselves, property values crash, Development Corporation buys cheap. We've seen this pattern in Godra, in Joseph Colony, in a dozen other places. You're saying my shooting was about real estate? I'm saying your shooting was about money wearing the mask of religion, and your literacy program bringing our communities together was interfering with their plan to divide and acquire. The implications spread through my mind like cracks in ice. How do you know this? Because I started asking questions after you were shot. Because I know people in the magistrate's office who talk. Because the same development corporation tried this in my home district 5 years ago. He leaned closer. Arif, you survived for a reason. Your story is threatening someone very powerful. Be careful who you trust, even in the hospital. He left as quietly as he'd arrived. That afternoon, Nadia brought news. The literacy program had been officially shut down by district order. Security concerns, public safety, the usual bureaucratic language masking political pressure. The families are devastated, she said. But they're organizing. They want to fight this legally. Where would we even start? I asked, feeling hopeless. She pulled out her phone. A journalist contacted me. From Dawn newspaper. She's been investigating the development corporation for 3 years. She wants to meet you. She says your story could be the key to exposing everything. What's her name? Zara Ahmed. I looked at the x-rays still hanging on the wall. 41 bullets permanently inside me. 41 reasons to stay quiet, stay safe, protect my family. Or 41 testimonies waiting to be told. Set up the meeting, I said. Nadia's eyes widened. Arif, you can barely walk. You're still in danger. If what the imam says is true, then staying silent won't make me safer. It'll just make their victory easier. That night, as morphine pulled me towards sleep, I heard 2 police officers talking outside my room. The door was cracked open slightly. They didn't know I could hear. If he talks about who really ordered this, it goes all the way to the top, one said. Then make sure he doesn't talk, the other replied. How? He's a miracle survivor. The media is watching. International attention. We don't have to. There are other ways to silence people. Discredit them. Threaten their families. Make them choose between truth and safety. They walked away, their footsteps fading down the corridor. I stared at the ceiling, counting the tiles I could see from my bed. 41, the same number as the bullets inside me. Coincidence? Or a reminder that every scar has a purpose? Every wound tells a story. Every survival carries responsibility? I'd been shot 58 times and lived. Now I was beginning to understand that the real test wasn't surviving the bullets. It was deciding what to do with the life they failed to take. Going back to Jehanabad with 41 bullets still inside me felt less like courage and more like obedience to something I couldn't fully articulate. I was discharged on day 32 against Dr. Malik's strong recommendation. You need at least another month of supervised care, he insisted. The wounds are still healing. Infection risk is high. Your mobility is severely limited. I know, I said, signing the release forms. But I need to go home. He sighed, defeated. Then at least let me be honest with you. Those 41 bullets will be with you for life. Some are lodged against your spine. We can't remove them without risking permanent paralysis. You'll set off metal detectors. You'll have chronic pain. You'll need ongoing physical therapy. And there's a real possibility of lead poisoning as the bullets degrade over time. How long do I have? If you're careful, decades maybe. If you're not, if you push yourself too hard, stress your body, refuse to manage the pain properly? He shrugged. Impossible to say. But Arif, you need to understand. You're living with shrapnel in your spine. You're a medical impossibility. Don't waste it by being reckless. The drive home in Nadia's brother's car took 40 minutes through Lahore traffic. Every pothole sent lightning through my spine. Every turn made the wounds pull and ache. By the time we reached Jehanabad, I was sweating through my clothes, gripping the door handle white-knuckled. But when we turned onto our street, I saw them. Hundreds of people, Christians and Muslims, standing together outside St. Thomas Church. They'd been waiting, Nadia told me quietly. Waiting for days, taking shifts, refusing to leave until I came home. When I stepped out of the car, the crowd erupted. Not in celebration, something deeper. Relief, vindication, hope. I saw faces I knew and faces I'd never seen. I saw Hamza, the vendor, tears streaming down his face. I saw Imam Rashid standing beside Father Thomas from the church. I saw children from the literacy program holding signs. We're still learning, and they can't shoot education. Someone helped me walk to the church steps. Each step was agony, but I climbed them. 5 steps. The same 5 steps I'd climbed 1,000 times before. Now each one a mountain. At the top, I turned to face them. The crowd fell silent. I unbuttoned my shirt, slowly, painfully, showed them the scars. 58 entry wounds, some still bandaged, some already sealed into permanent marks. I heard gasps. I heard someone sob. They tried to silence me, I said, my voice still rough from the ventilator damage. They fired 58 times, but God had a different plan. And if you're here today, standing together despite everything trying to divide you, then their bullets failed completely. The crowd erupted again. But I wasn't finished. The literacy program was officially shut down. I continued. But education doesn't need official permission. Faith doesn't need government approval. And love doesn't need a building permit. Starting tomorrow, we meet in homes. Rotating locations. Smaller groups. Harder to target. Impossible to kill. Imam Rashid stepped forward. My mosque will provide space, he announced. Twice a week, Father Thomas nodded. And the church basement. The other days, within an hour, we had a plan. Decentralized, resilient, impossible to shut down with a single order or a single attack. That night, Nadia and I sat in our small kitchen. The children were asleep. The house was quiet except for the generator humming outside. You know they'll try again, she said quietly. I know. And you're doing this anyway? I have to. If I don't, then the bullets won. They didn't kill my body, but they killed my purpose. That's worse. She was quiet for a long time. Then, Mikhail asked me yesterday if you were going to be a martyr. He's 10 years old and he knows that word because his father was shot 58 times. The guilt hit harder than any bullet. I'm sorry, I never wanted. I'm not finished, she interrupted. He asked me if you were going to be a martyr, and I told him no, because martyrs die. You lived, and living, continuing to live, continuing to stand up, continuing to teach children despite everything, that's harder than dying. That's the real miracle. Tears came then, the first real tears since the alley, for the fear I'd caused her, for the childhood my children were losing to adult realities, for the simple life we'd never get back. I'm scared, I admitted. All the time. Every car that passes, every knock on the door. I'm terrified. Good, she said. Fear means you're human. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's teaching children to read while bleeding from 58 wounds. The next morning, we held the first class in Hamza's home above his shop. 12 students, 6 Christian, 6 Muslim. We sat in a circle on the floor. I could barely lower myself to sitting, the wounds screaming protest. But I did it. Today, we're going to read a new story. I told them. It's about a seed that fell on rocky ground. The seed should have died, but instead, it found cracks in the rocks and grew anyway. Who wants to read first? Bilal raised his hand. The Muslim boy who'd been with us from the beginning. I will, teacher. As he read, I watched the other children, listening, learning, Christians and Muslims together in a fruit seller's home, sharing books and hope. This was what they'd tried to kill. This simple, profound, revolutionary act of children reading together. A week later, enrollment had doubled. Families were hiding their children's participation, lying to neighbors about where they were going, taking elaborate routes to avoid being followed. Education had become resistance. Literacy had become rebellion. And I was walking evidence that bullets fail when purpose survives. But the threats were escalating. Anonymous letters, phone calls. One afternoon, a brick thrown through our window with a note attached. Next time, we won't miss. The white Corolla appeared again. Parked outside the church, parked outside Hamza's shop, parked outside our home. Always the same car, always watching. Officer Rashid, Bilal's father, came to see me privately one evening. He wore civilian clothes, nervous, looking over his shoulder. I shouldn't be here, he said. But you need to know, I was assigned to monitor your program, to gather evidence for a raid. My heart sank. That's the thing, he said. I can't do it. I've been watching my son learn, watching these children break bread together. I have 2 choices, follow orders and destroy something beautiful, or help you. Helping me could cost you everything. I know, he said. That's why I'm here, to tell you what's really happening, and to offer protection. From the inside, that's when I understood. The bullets had failed to kill me, but they'd succeeded in creating something else, an alliance that couldn't have existed before. Muslim and Christian united not by doctrine, but by shared threat, by children reading together, by bullets that missed their target and hit something larger. The real miracle wasn't my survival. It was what my survival had planted in the ground, watered by blood. If you're beginning to understand that miracles aren't just about supernatural healing but about ordinary people making extraordinary choices, then you're seeing what those 58 bullets were really meant to destroy. Subscribe to see how this story unfolds beyond what anyone could predict. Following the money trail behind 58 bullets led me into a darkness more terrifying than the alley where I nearly died. Officer Rashid came back 3 nights later, this time with documents, real ones, official ones. He spread them across my kitchen table while Nadia stood guard at the window. "This is career suicide," he said, his hands shaking slightly. "But my son deserves to grow up in a world where reading with a Christian friend doesn't get people killed." The first document was a development proposal. New Lahore Commercial Complex. The location, Yuhanabad and surrounding areas. The developer, Crescent Properties Limited. The projected profit, 2 billion rupees. "The land is currently residential," Officer Rashid explained. "Christian colony, some Muslim neighborhoods, low property values because of the demographics." "You mean because Christians are second-class citizens?" I said bluntly. He had the grace to look ashamed. "Yes, that, which makes the land cheap to acquire, but only if the current residents leave, voluntarily or otherwise." The next document was an internal memo, dated March 10, 2024, 1 week before I was shot. Subject line, Yuhanabad Acquisition Strategy. I read it out loud. "Current interfaith cooperation presents obstacles to natural community division. Recommend strategic intervention to catalyze sectarian tensions. Successful implementation in Godhra, 2009, and Joseph Colony, 2013, provides operational blueprint." My hands shook. They're talking about creating religious violence as a business strategy. "Keep reading," Officer Rashid said grimly. Further down, Pastor Arif Ahmad identified as primary obstacle. His literacy program creating cross-community bonds that reduce displacement probability. Recommend neutralization through coordinated action with sympathetic elements. Neutralization. Such a clean word for murder. Sympathetic elements. Nadia read over my shoulder. "Who?" Officer Rashid pulled out another document, a list of names. I recognized 2 immediately. Both were known extremists. Both had been arrested before for sectarian violence. Both had been mysteriously released without charges. "These men were paid," Officer Rashid said, 50,000 rupees each. "The payment came through a shell company owned by Crescent Properties. I have the bank records." "How did you get all this?" I asked. "I'm not the only officer who's sick of this," he said. "There are 6 of us, quietly gathering evidence, quietly documenting the pattern. But we need a face, a story, someone the public will listen to." "You want me to go public?" "I want you to expose them. Your survival makes you untouchable in a way we're not. They can't kill you now, after all the media coverage, and it's obvious. But we're just cops. We can be transferred, demoted, or disappeared." I looked at the documents spread across my table. Evidence of conspiracy reaching into government offices, police departments, development corporations. Evidence that my attempted murder was just one piece of a larger machine converting religious hatred into commercial profit. "If I do this," I said slowly, "they'll come after my family." "They're already coming after your family," Officer Rashid said. "The question is whether they do it in darkness or in light. Public exposure is your best protection now." The next day, I met Zara Ahmed, the journalist from Dawn newspaper. She came to our home, laptop and recorder in hand, eyes bright with the intensity of someone who'd been chasing a story for years. "I've been documenting Crescent Properties since 2021, she said. 3 previous incidents, Godhra, Joseph Colony, and a smaller operation in Sialkot. Same pattern every time. Create religious conflict, acquire land cheap during the chaos, build commercial projects, profit. "Why haven't you published?" I asked. "Because I needed proof linking the religious violence directly to the company. Until now, it was correlation, suspicious patterns. But this," she gestured to Officer Rashid's documents, "this is a conspiracy in writing. This is criminal. This is the story that brings them down and puts me in the spotlight." "You're already in the spotlight," she said gently. "The man who survived 58 bullets. International media has already picked up your story. The question is whether you control the narrative or they do." She was right. I'd been receiving interview requests from CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, all wanting the miracle story. The pastor who couldn't die. None of them knew about the development plans, the conspiracy, the truth behind the bullets. If we do this, Zara said, we do it right. Full investigation, multiple sources, documentation. We expose not just the shooting but the entire system that made it profitable. Over the next 2 weeks, Zara worked with Officer Rashid's group to verify everything. Bank records, shell company registrations, previous incidents. They found more than we'd imagined. Payments to local extremists, bribes to district officials, plans for similar operations in 3 other cities. The literacy program, meanwhile, had grown despite being officially shut down. Or maybe because of it. We were meeting in 14 different locations, rotating schedules, nearly 200 students now. Muslim families who'd never considered sending their children to a Christian-led program were seeking us out. Sending their kids was an act of defiance against whoever had tried to kill me, but the pressure was mounting. Nadia was fired from her teaching position. Budget cuts, they said. We knew better. Mikhail was beaten up on his way home from school. Not seriously, but enough to send a message. Our church received official notice of structural violations requiring immediate closure. The white Corolla was now parked outside our home daily, no longer trying to hide, a visible threat. Then the fabricated evidence began appearing. Photos of me, clearly photoshopped, meeting with Western diplomats. Bank statements, completely forged, showing foreign currency transfers to my account. Articles in smaller newspapers questioning my real agenda. Christian pastors' foreign funding exposed. Hidden agenda behind literacy program. Western plot to corrupt Pakistani youth. The narrative was being built. I was being transformed from victim to villain, from survivor to suspect. This is a textbook, Zara said, reviewing the smear campaign. Discredit the witness before the testimony. They know what's coming. Officer Rashid warned me of imminent arrest, fabricated charges, foreign funding, corruption. They'll make it look legitimate. You'll disappear into the legal system for months, maybe years. Do I run? I asked. Where would you go? Nadia asked quietly. They have our passports flagged. They have our families watched. Running just makes you look guilty. That night, I sat in our dark kitchen, my body aching from the day's activities, bullets in my spine sending sharp pains down my legs. I prayed, not for safety, not for protection, not even for justice. I prayed for clarity. And in that silence, I heard the same knowing voice from the in-between place. You didn't survive to hide. Show them your scars. Tell them your story. Plant your testimony in soil they thought they'd salted with bullets. The next morning I called Zara. Set up the press conference. I'm ready. Are you sure? She asked. Once we do this, there's no going back. They'll come at you with everything. They've already come at me with everything, I said, touching the scars under my shirt. They fired 58 times and I'm still here. What else can they possibly do? Zara was quiet for a moment. They can destroy your reputation, your family's safety, your future. Or, I said, I can destroy their conspiracy, expose their machine, save other communities from experiencing what we've experienced. That seems like a fair trade for whatever they do to me. She laughed, not with humor, but with something like recognition. You know what makes you dangerous? You already died. You're living on borrowed time. That makes you fearless in a way they can't account for. The press conference was scheduled for the following week. Lahore Press Club. Open invitation to all media. Zara would present the investigation. Officer Rashid and his team would present the evidence. And I would present my body, scarred and surviving, as living proof that their bullets couldn't silence the truth. But 5 days before the scheduled conference, the white Corolla disappeared. Just gone. No more surveillance. No more visible threat. Officer Rashid was immediately suspicious. They're not retreating. They're changing strategy. He was right. The next day, arrest warrants were issued. Not for me, for Officer Rashid and 3 other officers in his group. Charges: corruption, theft of government documents, conspiracy against the state. They were being eliminated before they could testify. The conspiracy protecting itself by destroying the witnesses from inside the system. I visited Officer Rashid at the police station before they transferred him to lockup. He sat behind glass, phone pressed to the barrier between us. I'm sorry, I said. This is my fault. No, he said firmly. This is their fault, and we're not done. The documents are with Zara. She has everything. My testimony is already recorded. Even if I'm in prison, the truth gets out. Your family will be proud, he interrupted. My son asked me yesterday if I was a hero. I told him no. I told him I was just a man who decided that 58 bullets shouldn't have the final word. They took him away that afternoon. 3 other officers were arrested simultaneously. The conspiracy was closing ranks, protecting itself the way it always had. The press conference was now more critical than ever, and more dangerous. Zara came to my home the night before. They're going to try to stop this tomorrow, she said. Pressure on the press club, threats to journalists, maybe worse. We do it anyway, I said. People could get hurt. People are already hurt. That's the point, she nodded. Then we do it right. We tell the whole story, and we make it impossible to ignore. That night, I couldn't sleep. The bullets in my spine ached. The wounds that had healed still pulled tight. I thought about the alley, about the 7 minutes of dying, about the choice I'd made to return. Had I known it would lead here, would I have made the same choice? Yes. 1,000 times yes. Because those children were still reading. Because Muslims and Christians were still choosing unity over division. Because somewhere in Pakistan, another community might be targeted by another development corporation. And maybe, just maybe, my story would stop the bullets before they were fired. Tomorrow, I would stand before cameras and show my scars. I would tell the world what 58 bullets couldn't destroy. I would testify that love is stronger than lead, that truth outlasts lies, that communities united are more profitable than communities divided. The bullets had failed to kill me. Now it was time to make sure they failed to silence me. Standing before 50 national and international press cameras with my shirt unbuttoned to show my scars felt more vulnerable than lying in that alley bleeding out. The Lahore Press Club was packed. Every major Pakistani outlet, international correspondents from CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, even some independent journalists live streaming to YouTube and social media. Zara had done her work. The story was too big to ignore. I stood at the podium, Nadia to my left, Imam Rashid to my right. Behind me, blown-up photos from the investigation, development plans, bank records, the memo ordering my neutralization. The room fell silent as I unbuttoned my shirt. Gasps. Camera flashes. Someone audibly sobbed. The scars were vivid against my skin. 58 entry wounds, some still pink and healing, some faded to white. A roadmap of attempted murder written in scar tissue. My name is Arif Ahmad. I began, my voice stronger than I felt. On March 17, 2024, I was shot 58 times in broad daylight in a Lahore marketplace. I should be dead. Every medical professional who treated me has said the same thing. I should not be standing here. I paused, letting the cameras capture the scars, the evidence, the impossible survival. For weeks, I believed this was religious violence. I'm a Christian pastor in an overwhelmingly Muslim nation. It made sense. It fit the narrative we've been taught. Christians and Muslims can't coexist. Violence is inevitable. Division is natural. I gestured to Imam Rashid. But then a Muslim imam came to my hospital room and told me to look deeper. And what we found, I pointed to the displays behind me. What we found was that my attempted murder had nothing to do with God and everything to do with money. Zara stepped forward, distributing packets to the journalists. In your folders, you'll find 3 years of investigative reporting, bank records, development plans, internal memos, all documenting a conspiracy to use religious violence as a tool for land acquisition and commercial development. She methodically presented the evidence, the Godra incident, Joseph Colony, the pattern, the profits, the shell companies, the payments to extremists, the bribes to officials. Pastor Ahmad wasn't shot because of his faith, Zara concluded. He was shot because his literacy program was creating exactly the kind of cross-community bonds that make strategic division impossible. He was shot because children reading together is bad for business when your business model requires communities to hate each other. The questions erupted, journalists shouting over each other, cameras pushing forward. The story was breaking in real time. But then someone shouted from the back, "This is anti-Pakistan propaganda, foreign-funded lies." Security moved toward the heckler, but I stopped them. "No, let him speak. This is exactly the deflection we expected." The man stood. I didn't recognize him, but I recognized the type. Professional disruptor, planted in the crowd. "You're being paid by Western interests to defame Pakistani institutions," he shouted. I smiled, sadly. "I was shot 58 times. My family has been threatened. Officers who helped me are now in prison. My wife was fired. My children were attacked. If this is being paid, I'd like to request a refund." Nervous laughter rippled through the room. "But you raise a good point," I continued. "Cui bono? Who benefits? When Muslims and Christians fight, who profits? Not the families burying their dead, not the children fleeing violence, not the communities destroyed. But someone does profit. I'm asking you to look at who." Imam Rashid spoke next. "I am a Muslim religious leader. I have no foreign funding, no Western agenda. I have only a Quran that teaches me to oppose injustice. And this," he gestured to the evidence, "to my scars, this is injustice wearing the mask of faith." The press conference lasted 2 hours, question after question, detail after detail. By the end, it was trending on Pakistani Twitter. Number 58 scars. International news outlets were already preparing stories. We'd done it. We'd exposed them in a way that couldn't be buried. But as we left the press club, I saw them. Not the white Corolla this time, an official government vehicle. Men in suits waiting by the entrance. "Mr. Arif Ahmad?" One approached with a document. "You're wanted for questioning regarding allegations of foreign funding and conspiracy against the state. Arrest." Right there, in front of cameras. A last desperate attempt to control the narrative. "Will you come voluntarily, or do we need to use force?" the officer asked. I looked at the cameras still rolling, at the journalists watching, at Nadia's terrified face. "I'll come," I said, "but I want it on record. I'm being arrested for exposing a conspiracy, not for committing one." They put me in handcuffs, in front of international media. The image that would appear on front pages worldwide, a scarred pastor, still healing from 58 bullet wounds, being arrested for telling the truth. But as they led me to the vehicle, something unexpected happened. The journalists moved, formed a barrier, not physically blocking, but present. Cameras rolling, questions firing. On what evidence? What specific charges? Will he have legal representation? Is this retaliation for the press conference? The officers hesitated. They'd expected to arrest me quietly, later, away from witnesses. Now they were doing it in full view of the media that wouldn't look away. From the crowd, Hamza the fruit vendor pushed forward. "We see you! The world sees you! You can't make him disappear!" Others joined. Muslim and Christian families from the literacy program. Students. Community members. Not violent, not angry, just present. Witnessing. The officer in charge made a call, spoke quietly, then turned to me. "The arrest is postponed, but you're not to leave Lahore. You'll be summoned for questioning." They removed the handcuffs, left. The government vehicle drove away. The crowd erupted, not in celebration, something deeper. Recognition that sunlight was the best disinfectant, that witnesses matter, that silence enables what presence prevents. That night, sitting in our home surrounded by supporters who'd refused to leave us alone, I received a call, unknown number. "You've made powerful enemies," a distorted voice said. The arrest was a warning. "Next time, there won't be cameras to protect you." "Then make sure there's always cameras," I replied, and hung up. Nadia looked at me, fear and pride warring in her expression. "What have we started? Something that can't be stopped with bullets," I said. "They already tried that. Didn't work." This is where the story becomes yours too. Every share, every comment, every subscription becomes part of the protection around this testimony. You're not just watching a story unfold. You're becoming part of the shield that keeps truth from being buried. Will you stand with us? I've been asked 1,000 times if I've forgiven the men who shot me 58 times. The honest answer is, I'm still learning how to forgive them for not succeeding. That sounds dark, maybe it is, but let me explain. 3 months after the press conference, the physical healing continued, but the psychological wounds were rawer than ever. PTSD is real. Night terrors where I'm back in the alley, counting bullets that never stop. Hypervigilance where every car, every stranger, every unexpected sound sends adrenaline flooding through my system. The bullets may have failed to kill me, but they succeeded in stealing my peace. Dr. Malik monitored my recovery closely. The 41 bullets still inside me were becoming encapsulated by scar tissue, my body adapting to permanent foreign objects. Your body is literally learning to coexist with trauma, he said during one examination. I've never seen anything quite like it. But adaptation isn't the same as healing. The chronic pain was constant. Some days manageable, some days debilitating. I walked with a limp now, permanent nerve damage in my left leg. The bullets near my spine meant I'd never run again, never lift anything heavy, never move without calculating the cost in pain. You're living proof of a miracle, people would say. I'm living proof of bullets, I'd think. But I'd smile and thank them. The literacy program continued to grow, 23 locations now across Lahore, over 400 students. The publicity from the press conference had brought international donors, local support, even grudging acceptance from some officials. But I knew the victory was fragile, temporary, built on a tension that would eventually fade. On the one-year anniversary of the shooting, the community organized a memorial event. Not a celebration, something deeper, a recognition of what we'd all survived together. They installed a plaque in the alley where I'd been shot. Both Christian and Muslim community funds paid for it. The inscription, in Urdu and English, "Here, hatred fired 58 times and missed its target. Here, love survived what bullets could not kill. Here, a community chose unity over division. Remember this place not for the violence that happened, but for the violence that failed." I stood in that alley for the first time since the shooting. The concrete still showed faint stains that wouldn't wash away. Blood, my blood. Permanent evidence of the day I died and didn't. The memories flooded back. Not the sanitized version I told in interviews, the real version. The terror, the pain, the certainty of ending, the taste of concrete and copper, the counting that I still couldn't explain. I knelt down, touched the stained concrete, and something broke open inside me. I wept. For the first time since waking up in the hospital, I let myself feel the full weight of what had happened. The grief for the life I'd lost, even as I'd survived. The anger at being forced into this story. The exhaustion of carrying 58 testimonies in scar tissue. Nadia knelt beside me, didn't speak, just present. "I'm so tired," I whispered. "I'm tired of being the miracle, tired of being strong, tired of my body hurting every single day, tired of being afraid." "I know," she said softly. "I want my old life back, the boring one, where the generator was my biggest problem. That life died in this alley," she said gently. "You can mourn it, but you can't resurrect it." She was right. The bullets had killed something even as they'd failed to kill me. Innocence, security, the comfortable anonymity of small, safe ministry. Later that week, something unexpected happened. Through Officer Rashid's wife, he was still in prison, case stalled in legal limbo. I received a request for a meeting. From the mother of one of the shooters. Her son was in custody, awaiting trial. She wanted to see me, to explain, to ask something. I almost said no. The idea of facing the family of someone who'd tried to murder me felt impossible. But Nadia encouraged me. "Maybe you both need this," she said. We met in a neutral location, a small office in the Legal Aid Society building. She entered wearing a full burqa, hands trembling, eyes downcast. "I am Shabnam," she said in Urdu. "My son Khalid was one of the men who shot you." My heart raced, fight or flight response triggering hard, but I stayed seated. "He is my youngest," she continued. "Good boy, devout, but poor. No education, no prospects. Someone came to him, offered 50,000 rupees, told him you were an enemy of Islam, converting Muslim children, corrupting youth. And he believed them," I said. "Not a question. He believed them because he wanted to believe them. Because 50,000 rupees would feed our family for 6 months. Because he had no education to question, no critical thinking to challenge." She looked up at me with tears streaming. "Because I raised him in poverty and ignorance, and that made him a tool for evil men." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because he's 23 years old, and will spend his life in prison for being poor and stupid. Because the men who paid him are free. Because I'm sorry. Because," she broke down completely, "because I'm asking something I have no right to ask. Forgiveness." I sat in silence. The scars under my shirt seemed to burn. 58 reminders that her son had pulled a trigger 58 times, that he'd stood over my dying body and kicked me to make sure I was finished. "I can't," I said honestly. "Not yet. Maybe not ever. Your son tried to kill me. He nearly orphaned my children. He almost made my wife a widow. I'm not that good. I'm not that holy." She nodded, accepting. Started to stand. "But," I continued, "I can do something else. I can work to make sure other young men don't become what your son became. I can ensure the literacy program teaches the critical thinking he never learned. I can fight the poverty that made 50,000 rupees worth murder." She stopped, looked at me with something like hope. "Your son is in prison," I said, "but I'm alive. And every day I'm alive, teaching children to read, to think, to question. That's my revenge against whoever paid him. Not revenge against your son. He was a weapon. I want to disarm the people who made him one." She fell to her knees. Thank you. Don't thank me," I said. "I haven't forgiven him. I'm just choosing to fight the real enemy. The system that turns poor boys into murderers and profits from the violence." After she left, I sat alone in that office for an hour, thinking about forgiveness, about justice, about the difference between forgiving individual sin and fighting systemic evil. I realized something. I didn't have to forgive the shooters to fight the people who hired them. I didn't have to achieve perfect spiritual grace to pursue imperfect earthly justice. Maybe that was okay. Maybe being human, scarred, angry, afraid, and still choosing to move forward, maybe that was its own kind of miracle. The bullets in my spine ached. They always would. 41 permanent reminders that I'd been targeted for death and survived. 41 testimonies written in metal and flesh. I didn't have to forgive them all at once. I just had to keep living, keep teaching, keep building bridges they'd tried to burn with bullets. That would have to be enough. Some days, it barely was, but it was all I had to offer. A broken body still serving, scarred hands still teaching, a wounded spirit still choosing hope over hate. Not because I was particularly holy, but because the alternative was letting the bullets win posthumously, and I'd already paid too high a price to surrender now. Today, December 8th, 2025, I still carry 41 bullets in my body. Today, I also carry something else, the names of 734 children who've learned to read in our program. The math of that feels important somehow. 41 bullets that failed to kill me. 734 futures changed because they failed. Each bullet generating roughly 18 transformed lives. That's a return on investment the Development Corporation never calculated. My daily routine now includes pain management before anything else. Anti-inflammatories with breakfast. Physical therapy stretches. Careful calculation of every movement to minimize stress on the bullets near my spine. I set off metal detectors everywhere. Airport security has become a nightmare of explanations and medical documentation. "You have what in your body?" they always ask, incredulous. 41 bullets, I reply. "Would you like to see the x-rays?" Some laugh, thinking I'm joking, until they scan me and the detector screams. Then they see the scars. Then they hear the story. Then I'm waved through with a mixture of horror and respect. Nadia has become the de facto administrator of the literacy program. While I'm the public face, the testimony, the scarred prophet, she's the one who actually runs everything. Scheduling, curriculum, teacher training, budget management, donor relations. "You're the miracle," she told me last month. "I'm the method. We need both." Mikhail is 13 now. Old enough to understand what happened, young enough to still have nightmares about losing me. He's become protective, almost paranoid. Checks locks 3 times, walks me to the car, watches for white Corollas that no longer come. Sana is 11. She wants to be a teacher like me, but without getting shot, Baba. Her innocent way of processing trauma into future purpose. The literacy program has expanded beyond anything I imagined. We're in 4 cities now: Lahore, Karachi, Islamabad, Faisalabad. Nearly 2,000 students. Muslim and Christian children learning together, playing together, becoming friends across the lines that adults draw. Last month, we had our first interfaith wedding. Bilal, the Muslim boy from the original program, and Rachel, a Christian girl he'd met in our classes. Their families initially opposed, but they'd watched their children grow up as friends. They'd seen the program survive attempts to destroy it. They decided that if God could protect a pastor shot 58 times, maybe God approved of love that crossed traditional boundaries. I officiated with Imam Rashid, who was finally released from prison after 18 months. Charges dropped. Evidence mysteriously insufficient. We both knew it was because the spotlight had moved on, because keeping him imprisoned was more costly politically than releasing him. They didn't win, he said at the wedding. They just stopped losing publicly. The Development Corporation? Crescent Properties was investigated, fined, several executives resigned, the Johanabad project was indefinitely postponed, but no one went to prison. No one was charged with conspiracy to murder. The system protected itself, even in defeat. Partial justice is still justice, Zara the journalist told me. You exposed the machine. You saved other communities from experiencing what you experienced. That matters. But I wanted more. I wanted the men who ordered my death in prison. I wanted Officer Rashid's colleagues exonerated. I wanted the shooter's handlers identified and prosecuted. Justice is a horizon, Imam Rashid said wisely. You walk toward it, but you never fully arrive. The walking is the point. The white Corolla that had haunted my recovery now sits permanently outside St. Thomas Church, but it belongs to a different group now. Community protection. Muslim and Christian volunteers who take shifts, watching, documenting, ensuring that threats don't materialize into violence. Ironic full circle. The symbol of death becomes the symbol of protection. Last month, I received an anonymous letter. Different from the usual threats, this one was different. Inside was a photograph of me teaching, taken the day before the shooting. On the back, handwritten in careful Urdu, I was ordered to be the 59th bullet. I was stationed outside the alley, positioned to finish you if the others failed. I watched you teach my nephew that morning. I watched you help him pronounce a difficult word. I watched you laugh with him, treat him like he mattered, like his Muslim identity didn't make him your enemy. When the shooting started, I couldn't do it. I was supposed to verify the kill. I was supposed to fire if you moved, but I couldn't. I drove away. I told them you were dead. I lied. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just needed you to know that you changed 2 lives that day. My nephew, who can now read, and me, who can now look at himself in the mirror. The bullets failed for more reasons than you know. I've read that letter 100 times, wondering who wrote it, wondering if it's true or some elaborate psychological game, wondering if the anonymous 59th gunman who couldn't shoot is watching my testimony spread and feeling. What? Relief? Guilt? Redemption? I'll never know. And maybe that's okay. Maybe some mysteries are meant to remain mysteries. What I do know is this. I'm 36 years old with the body of someone much older. I walk with a permanent limp. I live with chronic pain. I wake up screaming from nightmares about alleys and bullets. I'll never be fully free from the trauma of March 17, 2024. But I'm also alive. Teaching, building, planting gardens in ground they tried to salt with bullets. 734 children who wouldn't be reading if I'd stayed dead. Dozens of interfaith friendships that wouldn't exist. A conspiracy exposed that would still be operating. Communities protected that would have been divided and conquered. I don't know if I'll die old in bed or young in another alley. What I know is this. The 7 minutes I spent between death and life taught me that our stories don't end when our hearts stop. They echo, they ripple, they transform. Every child who learns to read in our program is an echo of those 58 bullets that failed. Every Muslim and Christian friendship is a ripple from that alley in Lahore. Every community that chooses unity over division is a transformation of trauma into purpose. The bullets are still in my body, 41 pieces of metal that will stay with me until I die. 41 reminders every time I walk, sit, sleep, breathe, but they're not winning. They're not silencing. They're not stopping the work. They're just there. Permanent residents in a body that refused to quit. Testimonies in metal that speak louder than the voices that loaded the guns. And every person watching this right now, reading this testimony, sharing this story, you're part of that echo. You're part of that ripple. You're part of the transformation of bullets into blessing. This isn't the end of my story. It's barely the middle, but it's the part where I tell you, scars speak, survival testifies, and love, actual inconvenient sacrificial love, is more powerful than any ammunition. They fired 58 times. I'm still here, still teaching, still building bridges, still choosing the harder path of unity over the easier path of division. That's the miracle. Not that I survived, but that what I survived is being transformed into something they never imagined when they loaded those guns. 41 bullets, 734 children, and counting. If this testimony has challenged you to see faith differently, to believe in impossible resilience, to trust that your own scars might carry purpose beyond your pain. Then, the 58 bullets that didn't kill me have just gained one more meaning. Subscribe, share this story, let it echo, let it ripple, let it transform. Your witness keeps this testimony alive. Will you?